Hello, hello, happy weekend to everyone. I hope we all are doing good. Okay, so today my network is not the best, so I'm using my phone to connect. Hopefully that it does not obstruct our view. And please, as you connect, as usual, let's know where you're watching us from. And please let me know if you can clearly get me. It's been a while. I've been away for it's like 1 week. Yeah, I think like 1 week. Last week, unfortunately, I didn't tell us that I was not going to be live. But hope we all enjoy the updates I shared. Unfortunately, the network in the event center was not the best. So inside, there was basically like no network. You needed to step outside to get it. I wanted to give like some updates and some live sessions. So today we're talking about criticism, and for me as a person, it's like something I didn't used to like, but it's something I so much love now because sometimes it's also funny, sometimes it's also like a drive, which is one of the aspects we're going to talk about. And if you're new to this family, welcome again. I am Lucy, and today I am humbled to be the host. Tomorrow you can be the host. So, Fee at Home, we talk about topics related to us as lights, as humans. We are definitely on earth for a purpose, which I know sometimes we forget and we get so carried with the things we want to achieve, the things we want, the things we have. And unfortunately, also sometimes we are carried with our differences. And this is why we have this family to keep reminding us that, hey, we are lights, and as lights, we have the goal to shine. Like that is what we are supposed to be doing, to shine. But again, we are not to shine to dim other lights, but we are to shine to help other lights shine, which means we are supposed to be helping each other, which I'm not sure that's what we do most of the time. What do you think? Do you think many times we actually are helping each other or we are competing? So last week, by the way, and for me, I really love networking. I love to meet people with good mindset. And our topic, you see that it's always, for those who have been with us, you notice that it's always a one mindset because I strongly believe a change in mindset is a total change in life. If you want to change the way the world is, start by changing the way people think. And the world is made up of people. So the outcome, the way we see the world, is based on what we are giving out, the energies, the mindsets we have. And of course, our mindset influences our actions. Whatever we do, whatever we say, is dependent on our mindset. So criticism is one of those things that how we receive it and how we do it, also how we criticize, start again from how what our mindsets we have. And so last week I was really blessed to be in history with amazing people who come from definitely very different or diverse backgrounds, be it academical, profession, or biological origin, people from different countries, people from different walks of life, people from different, in fact, different tribes. Coming together thinking as one people is something I just so much love. And trust me, the energy is good. The energy was good, and it's just that energy I wish that we all in this family should have. So that's what I really want to encourage today. Like we all should be very intentional. Go and talk about criticism. Maybe some people are coming looking at this topic from the mindset of them being criticized, but also as usual, once you start with us, it's easy to point fingers rather than taking time to evaluate ourselves. But yeah, we always ginger people, we always be ginger ourselves to sit back and see, is there anything I can change or are there some things that I can improve? So basically that's what we always do, like trying to see, is there something I can change? Is there something I can improve? So if there is, why not do it? What are you waiting for? So that is basically what we do here. So, in that line, I want to talk about criticism. As I said, something that a lot of time people like, "Hmm, people are good at criticizing people, but what are you good at doing?" That's my question to you. What are you good? Because it's easy, as I said, it's easy for us to point fingers. This is what people are doing, this is what people are saying, or this is what, but what are you doing? What are we doing? It's really what we in this family really, really wanted to be talking about. So today I am on a mission. As you see, the speed is like, how to say it, very, very fast. I'm on a mission to basically just pass one message. And as I always say, even if you're a pastor, you see, the first person you minister is to yourself. So it's always first to me. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? This way, like, it's just like everybody wants to kill everybody. It's like, oh, we are fighting, we are competing, we are just looking how who is doing what wrong to add the fire or to add the petrol. Now, what are you doing? What am I doing? That is the question we want to ask. So yes, understanding that we are different, very different, and we see things from different angles. The way the same thing that an economist will call a commodity, a chemist will call maybe a substance, we'll find a different name, maybe a scientific name to call that same product. So, and some other person from another field will check another name from what he or she knows. So what am I trying to, if we talk maybe in terms of energy, in terms of something, a matter, it's a matter. So in fact, we may be speaking different languages. The fact we come from different family backgrounds, different religions, different upbringing, different environments in which we grow. Do we think it should be an advantage to us or a disadvantage to us? That's my question to everybody watching. So let's know in the comment section. Do you think the fact we come from different backgrounds, different origins should be an advantage or a disadvantage? Personally, I believe and I know it should be an advantage to us. And it's by the way in the scripture, like the reason we are different is so that we complement each other. We complement each other. But I see that a lot of people, even like adults, I used to think the older people get, the older they should be, the more wise they should become. But I've come to realize that's not the case, and that's why I say I'm on a mission this day. I have one specific thing to pass, and one message to pass. So I have realized that there are generally two groups of people, and in around these groups you have the energy is online. So generally, irrespective before you go to how you're criticizing or what you're criticizing or what you think or what you don't think, but in terms of mindsets, I've come to realize there are two group of people. People think that people have to be perfect or people have to do things the way they do it, the specific ways. And also this group of people who understand that people are different and people are imperfect and people need to come together to help each other. Personally, I so much love the group of people who think that people are different and understand that people are different and people have to come together, as opposed to every person is perfect and you have to just be perfect in everything you do. So, talking about that, based on this group, where do you belong? Because at the end of the day, you belong somewhere, belong somewhere. I may belong to the group of people who believe that everyone should be perfect. And so once I see imperfection, I am sick. I am angry, I'm annoyed, and all I have to do is just tell this person how horrible you are, how horrible. And also, maybe you can be on this group of people who say, oh, people are not perfect. People may be good in this or that, but they may not be good in all this other part. Um, and accept that. So based on where you fall, you will see that now the way you criticize is different. Let's talk about criticism. And as I said today, once we talk about ourselves, take time to check how do we criticize, how do we process, how do we analyze information. Because at the end of the day, that's just one message I want everybody to know. That the way you analyze information, the way you process things is definitely maybe influencing the way you're sharing out information as well. The way you analyze, of course, will influence the conclusions you make about things, about people, about situations. And that's what I really want each one of us to be reminded of. Of course, many know them, many know these things, but many don't implement. You know, we all can say water is good, but if we are asked individually, why is water good? I don't believe everyone will have like good explanation really why water is good. As well as everyone can just say water is bad. Why is water bad? Few people will have that detail or a very valid explanation why water is bad. So this is also say when it comes to memorizing things, a lot, in fact, many of us are good at it. When it comes to understanding, fewer people actually understand these concepts in detail. And when it comes to implementation, the number even reduce. So are you one of those who intentionally want to improve the way you process information? Are you one of those persons who want to be very intentional and also the way you send out information? If yes, you are, then this is a conversation for us. So personally, last week one message that really sunk that deep in me was having a drive. Having a drive. We all have goals, we all have purpose. I believe beyond the things we do daily for a living, the things we do to pay the bills, we have goals that, of course, are more than that, are beyond that basic levels of just paying your bills or working for your bills or take care of your basic needs. Which again, as I say, a lot of people don't think beyond that box. A lot of us think of how do I get my house rent being paid? How do I get the babies? How do I get married? Of course, those are the things we all talk about. But now into what's my purpose in general? Why am I created on earth? Was it to just to get these things? Or build a house and leave the house for someone? Or what is the real reason for my existence? I know this is a topic that a lot of people don't sit to really reflect, but if you're one of those in that position, you of course get to a point that you want to get to more time to think about the things you're supposed to be doing as opposed to the things everyone is doing. So in that light, one thing we all want to be very intentional if you're in that space is about the way you address situations, the way you process information, those two things, the way you address situations and the way you process information. So now the question I want to ask every one of us, how many of us love to be the topic? Like you like to be the one people are talking about. Is there any person here who really like to be the topic? Like the one everybody's talking about. If you're on the status anywhere you go, she's doing that, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing that. What I personally think, by the way, let me know in the comment section. Let me know for all amazing people watching. No for me, okay? I'm asking no for me. So any other person, please let me see you guys in the comment section. It should not be just me talking. I like to yell people. Thank you. Okay, thank you, my sister young Patreon. Blessed to have you going. Not me even. It may shock some people, not even me. And the truth is that I've come to realize that a lot of people this generation don't want to face that reality. Even the celebrities you talk much about, if you really want to ask them. Many of them say they don't like to be the topic. But the reality is that someone said once you want to be at the top, no, you want to be the topic. So many times, even the people you are talking about don't want to be a topic. The people you want to talk about don't want to be a topic, and even you don't want to be the topic. But does it mean you will never be the topic? Let me know. The fact you don't want to be the topic doesn't mean you will never be the topic or you'll not at any point be the topic. The answer is no. So, of course, you can be the topic as well as you can take someone to be your topic. So, it's just the reality of life. But now, what this conversation today is geared at is how do you use those moments in which you are the topic? That's basically what, because at the end of the day, like it or not, people must talk, people must say things, people must do things. So I just learned, and I will, by the way, I was just reminded that that is a good drive. If people say positive things, it should be a motivation. If people say negative thing, it should still be a motivation. It should be a motivation, which I realize this is where some people don't get it right. You feel like, okay, people should only talk good about you. That is what it means you're doing the good thing. But I believe when you know somebody's doing great, somebody's growing, somebody's getting some amazing results, that's when people start talking about, because you can be doing whatever you're doing, and once people really don't see your results, they don't have much to talk about you. But by the time they know they can use this name, mostly in this generation, to trend, trust me, that is where you become a topic. So it should be a drive. If somebody say, oh, and why am I sharing this, by the way? For those who don't know, I always like to share things I learn. But for me, I always share 1% because I don't still like to be the topic. So I like to share 1% of basically things I've learned, and which is a challenge for me because I always have things I learned, but I don't always feel like do it on camera. Then it came to a point that I realized that I've learned a lot from other people who have shared their 1% or 2%. So that is why I do what I do, by the way, because I basically learn every day from other people who have shared or who keep sharing their 1% every day. And I ask myself, what if these people didn't share their 1%? Would I learn this thing or not? So that's why I do it. So I've come to learn that, most of these children that people say they are very stubborn, there are these people that process information, like really process information. Like, for example, I just remember, like, I don't know if I should remember, or it just like came to my mind. I guess what? I'm this person that if I want to do something and you say don't do, mostly when I was growing up as a kid, basically, if you don't tell me why I shouldn't do, it means you've told me to do it. So I just realized that there are kids like me, so then I can understand. So that's why when I meet someone say, "Oh, my kid is very stubborn," I'm like, then when I spend some time with those children, some of them I realize they are just rational. Like you say, "Come," you don't tell them what they should come and do. They just say, "Come, bring that thing and come," and you see they immediately respond. So what am I trying to say? Like sometimes the fact that people say negative things doesn't really mean you're doing negative thing or you're a bad person. It just means maybe maybe they are seeing what you're not saying. It could be like sometimes people just want to express themselves. So now let me give myself again an example. Like someone will say she's very stubborn. That is like a criticism. That can also be a fact, right? Do we all agree? That can be like criticizing. That can also be like a fact the person stated, like, oh, she's stubborn. But is stubbornness a bad thing, or is it bad to be stubborn, or what do you think? Which I believe when I talk about criticism, that's what I think a lot of times people don't process. I have come to realize that when you talk about stubbornness, it's just resistant to something. So, for example, you can tell somebody to go and steal, and the person refuses to steal, and the person doesn't want to go. Is that stubbornness? Of course, it's still going to be stubbornness, but do we talk about it in that direction? So, which means even criticism has a both side of it. It may be positive, it may be negative. It can be constructive as well as it can be destructive. So that's why I believe it's not just what we say, but why do we say what we say? How do we say it? For me, is that key thing that I've come to say. It is that it is important for you who want to criticize, for you who want to say something to help somebody, to be intentional, but also for us who are receiving, or if you are the point of receiving a critic, it's not always going to, you should not always look it from a negative perspective also. You should look it as a drive to like evaluate, wow, I have a powerful comment in message in the comment section. So from my sister, she said, personally, I always want to try and make things right when I get negative criticism. Exactly. Though sometimes some of the negative criticism we get does not mean we are actually bad, because some people just want them. Okay, just want to demoralize you, and I agree. That's something I'm going to talk about my opinion. Though, yeah, you're very correct, and I totally agree with you. So I'm going to say criticism is not a bad thing, which is something I've done, which is something I didn't know, and something that personally, as I said, I'm sharing what I have learned, and for me, it really helps me. I have people now, a lot of people who criticize me, which I really appreciate. A lot of people criticize me, but also I'm also very clear that I love constructive criticism, because the truth is some criticism are not right. But people may struggle to want to use it as a drive, which means, for example, so I'm just going to share now myself. How do you use criticism as a drive? That is basically what I want to share at this point. So criticisms could be from any mind. So the first thing, you want to understand the mindset of the person. You want to understand why the person is criticizing. Then also take some time to reflect, which is important, which is just in line with what my sister said. You want to put. Sometimes people don't criticize what even you're doing. They just criticize because they have to say something. How many of us agree? Like sometimes people just fear to talk. They just want to also make a point. So we have to screen the criticisms, which is very important. It's not everything. Oh, you're going left. The signal should be going right. She, everybody's going right and she's going left. She thinks she knows too much. You just have to sit again back and ask yourself, what are my primary goals? What are my objectives? Which it doesn't make you a bad person, right? Neither does it make the person who's criticizing you a bad person. Because sometimes also, because we receive a negative critic, there's like this tendency to feel like this person who's criticizing us is bad. Have you ever felt that way? Like somebody giving you a negative criticism or saying something negative, and you tend to feel like this person is a bad person. Used to feel like that, like everybody will give negative comments or criticism, yeah, but I just now understand that it's just also based on their own state of mind. Sometimes it's just what people know that they say based on what they know. So, first thing, as I say, for us to be able to use criticism as a drive, we want to first of all, let me start even this one. We want to first of all know ourselves, because unless you have a goal, then you know your final destination, right? The GPS will always direct you based on your start point and where you're heading to. And as humans, we sometimes forget that we have specific start points. You were born in a particular village, in a particular family, at a particular time for a particular reason. Nothing is a coincidence. And that is where your own journey started. No, like even twins, they didn't come exact minute on this earth. There is a difference. Even twins, they have some difference in their DNA for a reason. So that is the same thing for you and I, right? We all are engineered differently. We have a start point and we have a finish point. Where you start is definitely may never be where you're going to end, right? Like if we all take some minutes to look back, where were you? Where were you born? How far have you traveled? Just let's use that physical location. Where were you born or where are you now? You see, you imagine yourself to be where you are now. Now let's put in that in terms of information, knowledge. What you knew years ago, is it what you know now? Let me see. People, what you knew like 10 years ago, is it exactly the same things you know now? Have some things increased or have some things reduced? Have you moved some things? Have you learned and have you learned new things? For me, of course, yes. Every day I learn. Every day I learn new things. So, first group of critics are these people who just want to express themselves. Sometimes they don't even process the information. They don't identify the journey. They don't know if this thing is for this person or it was for my situation. Because, for example, I love science. I go to school, I study science, but I personally don't believe everybody should be a scientist. I don't believe that. I don't even believe everybody who wants to be where I am to follow my path. I don't believe. I don't also believe every person on earth must either be an engineer to make that you're successful, or a doctor, as they used to tell us when we were growing up. You have to go up, have the good grades. I don't believe that. But of course, your people who still have their mindset. So based on those things, once you understand that, okay, this person is speaking from this perspective, you have more ways to process that information, right? So the next set of critics, the first set I said is basically just based on, like I say, personal opinion, what they feel, what they say, or what they have seen, and they just share it. So they share it, we still have to go through the screen. You see, okay, this is my journey. Maybe what the person have shared was important for you 5 years ago. So there are some things that's something I always like to encourage us in this family. Like, we have to really know where we are, because for me, I believe that's an important thing in life. We have different journeys, we have different purpose, which is something I want to always remind us. Like, don't get carried with, oh, this is where this person is, or this is where everybody is going, because that is what the tendency we have this generation, to feel like we should follow a trend. But many of us forget that, like, the way people used to dress 20 years ago is the way now people are seen as fashion, like new fashion, but those things have been there. So it's not always a trend. It may go and come. So it's about you. Where are you heading to? So the next set of people are these people who, of course, they know your journey to a certain level. So the first critics, I said, they are based on personal opinion. Like, okay, what they have seen or what they have heard is just what to tell you. It may not be applicable for you at that moment. You may need it in future. Maybe it was something that you needed in the past, but it's still important we screen it, right. The next set of people, critics, are these people who know you to a certain level. Like, maybe they knew in the past, and they're talking based on what they knew about you in the past, and this is what you should do, or this is what you could have done. Of course, as I said, you want to always start with this screening. So if you understand this is what they're saying, well, in that past, it may be good, it may be bad. You may need it, what they said, you may not need it. So it's important to process it. We all agree that even you, sometimes there's a way personal. There's some people that I have names. I was good at giving people's names, because people used to give me names. So when you give me name, the only way I find you back is to give you your own name. So there are people that the names I gave them 20 years ago, I see. so so I still call them those names. But now it's for fun, of course. Some people are like, if your name is Asha, you're very stubborn. I'll put stronghead Asha. So if your name maybe is, I'm calling random name, by the way. If your name maybe is um Tabi, let me use my middle name. Tabi, and you talk too much, I'll put Tabi Mashwang. So I used to do that. So maybe those people were really like that, but now they're not like that. So if I want to maybe give an input to what I believe they can do or they should do, and it's based on what I knew in the past, and I'm not sure, oh, is this even person still in that level? Are this person upgraded? Or is there something new? You're not informed, and you give, so you have those critics based on, I would say, it's still familiarity, based on what we knew or what we are familiar about. Which, as I said, we all still have that power to go through, to screen through the criticism, to see if it's just either some might just consider as noise. So, but that is not the reality for me. There are someone that's screen, I just put it on the category of noise. And if I see a consistent noise maker, I can just shift a little bit back this side. So you can also do that, by the way. When I say noise, like on like something not somebody who is not noise is something that you don't need. Let me put it like that. Something you don't need, a sound you don't need at the moment. Or it's not valuable at the moment. So you can still have that the noise, the charm, the people who process information. So the first people, just personal opinion, has nothing to do with familiarity. Second group of criticism and critics has to do with familiarity, what you're familiar about. But remember, what we are talking about is using criticism as a drive. So let's not forget about that. From all this type of criticism, these two we've mentioned, of course, some of them based on what they said about you in the past or what they know. So somewhere they comment, thank you so much, sis. Happy to have you active. Say, you said something that made me think of myself. I am that one person. A lot of people not only criticize but judge me negatively, which also made me to keep going. And I told myself in page one, I must get to where I'm going and become what I want. Yeah, sis, thank you for sharing that because that's just the point I got to. I realized that for me, as I said, when you say, Lucy, you can't do this, you've motivated me to do it. If you say, oh, it's only people who are like this who should do this, that's enough motivation for me as a person. So that is why on that particular note that I had to come to share this one because I had to like see, look myself, what made me to be in this particular place with this type of people. I'm like, it's because somebody said you could not do it. And the good thing is I remember the people. So just to give more context to this topic, let me give you an example, a particular situation when people said I couldn't do it. So I just had to know sometimes when you go in life, you have to thank you for for joining. You have to really sit back. Most of you are really intentional to check where you started in life. And for me, that's why I get up with gratitude. Like I'm really grateful where I am. Of course, I want to get more things. I want to get to more places, but I'm grateful for the little I have. I'm not grateful for what I have, which I know that is basically what some people need. And I never take anything for granted, even criticisms for granted. I'm even grateful for some people told me yes back I could not do it. So one thing is I just remember that I chose my secondary school from when I was in class 5. At that time, we had for those in from Cameroon, it was up to class 7. So and everybody's like, you're too small, you cannot go to this, you cannot go to a boarding school, blah, blah, blah. You're not able to take care of yourself. And I'm like, I'm going. So well, that was a typical situation why people say I was stubborn by the way, because I insisted on that particular point for 2 years, and everybody's like, "You're not going," except my grandma at that point, and my headmistress. Every other person was, well, it was just being, they were just being concerned. Like as I said, it was out of a place of love, like, oh, you may not be able to. It was not like negative. So that's why I said use criticism as a drive, and it's a very intentional topic and also a personal topic. So because they kept saying you cannot go, you should not. So I was instead doing it was pushing me to find more. At that time, I didn't even know I'd never been to the environment before. In fact, I didn't know anyone person who had been to that particular school. So it just came to be finding reason why people go to the school, and I was just loving it the more. The more like they say don't go, the more I found reason like this is the only place I want to go. And after I went, everybody was like, I'm so proud of you. I told you this is not who you should go. So I say, you see people's like, then fast forward again, I had this situation that, everybody going to PhD after I finished my master, going to PhD, PhD is good. And for me at that point, I was a place like I had this message came to me like, will you prefer to have degrees and you're broke, or do you prefer to have this, and that, and you can do the and at any time. And I chose my latter, right? I chose to be where I want to be and do every other thing I want to do as opposed to just packing degrees. So for me, that is when it dawned on me the importance of thinking beyond your certificate, which of course I see a lot of people still think within their just at the level of the certificate, which is fine. But those are things that as people say, oh, you cannot, you must be this before you can do this, you must have a PhD before you can do this, before you can be a significant person in the society. I'm like, okay, you must do that or this. So that's why for me, as I said, it just dawned on me like there's so many things that people say you can't see, you do this or that. And to me, I've seen myself doing those things, and I'm just like, okay, God, thank you that you gave me the grace to understand this and use this as a foil. And basically, as I said, that's just a message I want to share with everybody today. And this live session is not going to be that long. So if you have questions, you feel free to share with us in the comment section. And hopefully, as you can see, even though I think the layout today is not the best, but we are going to have a more stable program as from next week by God's grace. We've been working on a couple of things. So I just really felt like to encourage someone that first, be intentional with your words. Your words, it should not just be based on how you feel, because most of the time we don't know ourselves the way we think we know. You may not know my journey the way you think you know. You may know the one person I've shared I think you know enough, as well as I may not know your journey the way I may be assuming I know you very well. You know, I know this person very well from this is the familiarity, which is something for those who are all in this family we've talked about. Criticism will of course have a full video on positive or constructive, the different types of criticism, which I will encourage every person to know. But again, I know intentionally I've not mentioned all the types of critics. Please let me know in the comment section. But one message I really wanted to share on, the intention of this live session is for everybody to be reminded that there is always a reason for something. So if you want to speak, have a reason. It should not just be because you feel this way, this is what you think. We should sit down and process that, oh, maybe I may not know what has changed, maybe I may not be informed. And also, when people criticize you, don't take them as enemies. For me, I personally do the filtering, and there are people that, of course, I know they are noisemakers, but I still give them that 2 seconds of the first 2 minutes. You know, when you say first 2 minutes, there's a rule that says give people in the first 15 seconds and get what they're saying. So I do that a lot. So it's something you can also do. When people start talking, even if it's a phone call, try to, okay, why is he calling? Is it like because of this? Is it like, or you just, your person wants to talk? Try to get the reason for the message, then I get the message. So once you get that message, just love, it's just consent. That enables us to have more grace for people also to listen. But once you know, oh, it's just maybe this is how everybody is doing and this is what they want you to do, then you know how to treat it. But you see, okay, though everybody is doing this, is it also valid for me? So you can also use it as a drive. So definitely for us as humans to achieve our purpose on earth, which is unique, our purposes are unique, we need some drive. And I'm saying today that I've come to realize that one of that drive we all can use for free is criticism. When they criticize you, you can't do it. Maybe it's a good reason to work hard, not necessarily to prove anybody, but that is just to ask to see, maybe reflect why, how can I get it done? If they say I can't do it, why do they think? Maybe you identify why they think you can't do it, give you a reason why you should do it better. So that works for me. So each time someone say, oh, you are this, you're that, it's a good drive. I love it. I love to hear people say that. So I laugh. What's it? So it's also like a fun of like, okay, I see what she's thinking, I see what he's thinking. So I just want to say everything in life is for a purpose, including criticism. So sometimes we should not shun those doors of criticism, because sometimes we don't want to be criticized, we don't want to be the topic.